promise.
So we are doing the suspicious death of
Of
Charles
Charles
Morgan.
Morgan. This is a little bit of a doozy. The second episode in our Tucson cases. So some of you may have heard about this case if you lived in Tucson. And some of you probably have not.
I have not, and I've lived here for a while.
What did take place in like?
I'm gonna eat my food.
I'm
hungry.
I got the date wrong again.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
It's all right.
So in March 1977, Arizona businessman Charles Morgan went missing from his home in Tucson, Arizona, only to show up 3 days later in the middle of the night, shoeless,
What is it with people taking shoes?
traumatized, and with broken plastic handcuffs over his wrists and ankles. He was unable to speak, and he wrote he had been drugged by an unnamed individual, but refused to tell his wife more than that, and he refused to have her call the police to report the assault. 3 months later, Charles Morgan's body was found in the desert with a gunshot wound to the back of the head, one of his teeth wrapped up in a handkerchief, and a $2 bill pinned to his underwear.
Okay. That's odd.
Yeah. $2 bill is what gets me.
Yeah. Why a $2 bill?
We're going to get to the $2 bill.
Turn that on. I know we have tons of light, but it's still.
Yeah.
Can't really see people.
Charles, aka Chuck Curtis Morgan, was born on March 16th in Everett, Washington. He was the eldest of 2 children, born to Leonard and Doris Morgan, and he was raised in Tucson, Arizona. In 1958, he married a woman named Ruth, and they had 4 daughters, Megan, Erin, Heather, and Colleen. Friends described Chuck as quiet and dedicated to his work, family, and Masonic lodge life. He was also described as an escrow genius. He took a job with the county escrow services where he worked as an agent, managing accounts and working on behalf of clients to mitigate risk, offer financial advice, and execute transactions quickly and smoothly. This was the first of 2 stints in the county of escrow services, so he worked there twice and he would hop back and forth. Outside of work, he liked to explore his interest in real estate finance and dabbled in personal real estate. He was considered a true professional and, by most accounts, really easy to get along with. Like, everyone liked him.
Okay.
And on February of 1977, he did get into a heated argument with his supervisor at Title Insurance, and that resulted in him being fired for insubordination. After he was fired, he ended up borrowing $30,000 from a Tucson-based lender in order to purchase a controlling interest in a statewide escrow service with plans to build up the company. But in order to secure the loan, Chuck took out a third mortgage on his home to use as collateral, and he hoped it was a risk that would pay off. The Arizona State Banking Department flagged this as suspicious, and they and they put the transfer on hold, and they delayed it for 3 months.
Okay.
But there was also another reason for this. Now, the people who didn't know it was for a reason were like, it seemed odd. He had done this before. He was an escrow genius. Why was this transaction suspicious? And what was really weird was the transaction was followed by warnings and threats from the state banking department to deny him a license to operate a statewide escrow. And in early May, it became clear that the reason for this interference was because it was an attempt to force Chuck Morgan's cooperation into their investigation into the lender that he was going through, Banco International. And on May 4th,
May the 4th be with
May
you.
the 4th be with you. Also, we're airing this on May 4th.
So again, May the 4th be with you.
He was actually subpoenaed by the DA to testify against 3 Banco officials. And after his testimony, they released the hold on the statewide share transfer, and the sale was approved.
Okay.
The increase involved that basically what he was testifying was insider trading and other acts of fraud committed by at least three Banco officials, which Charles Morgan had close relationships with. And following his testimony in May, he told several individuals that he feared for his life.
Okay.
When state officials offered a physical protection for Chuck and his family, Chuck declined the protection and rarely spoke of the matter again.
So then why would you open your mouth and say you feel for your life, dude? If they're offering something, take it.
On the morning of March 22nd, 1977, Chuck said goodbye to his wife Ruth and left the house to drive their daughters to school like he did every morning. No one knew, but the state banking department was breathing down his neck, pressuring him to testify. So we did a little backup before he testified. And it turned out that the Banco secrets weren't the only one he had. Journalist Don Devereaux told producers from Unsolved Mysteries in 1990 he was around in the edges. I know.
The name John Devereaux. I'm like, that name sounds so familiar.
Don Devereaux, yeah.
Yeah. I was like, what the heck?
He was around the edges of a couple large organized crime groups in Arizona at the time. It was very easy to get in over your head. He was doing about $1 billion of escrow work in bullion and platinum.
What the crap, dude?
They were transactions that only existed on paper. He was doing everything legally, but he was really close to doing the illegal things.
Wow.
So everything was legal. Everything was above board. But it was right there.
What is up with their Kleenex?
I don't know. I don't know why it's covered in glitter.
What are y'all doing at Kleenex? Look at the freaking glitter. Okay, sorry. Side note. Squirrel moment. My bad.
When Chuck failed to return home that evening, so again, he testified May 4th. And on March 22nd, he dropped off his kids at school, went to work. When Chuck failed to return home that evening, his wife got worried, and she continued to worry. And one day turned to two, and there were no signs of Chuck. But on March 23rd, 3 days later, I think it was March 24th, 3 days later, after he'd been missing, she never called the police to report him missing, by the way.
So he left the house on the 22nd.
And then on the 24th,
that'd be 2 days later.
The evening of the 24th, I think they consider it like.
Oh, okay. I see what you're
saying. Ruth was awoken by a loud thump at the back door in the middle of the night.
Oh, okay.
And she said she remembered laying in bed and the dog started to bark. Chuck had finally come home. Ruth was relieved, but when she looked at him, that changed. She said she opened the door and there was a shoe missing, one plastic handcuff around one ankle, a set around his hands, and he motioned to his throat and didn't say a word. And I asked him, "Can you talk? Can you write?" He shook his head yes, that he could write. So I went and got a tablet and pen, and he wrote that his throat had been painted with a hallucinogenic drug, and that the drug would drive him insane or destroy his nervous system and kill him.
So if he talked? Oh, wow.
I wanted to call a doctor and the police, but he was adamant that that would sign a death warrant for the entire family.
Oh, wow.
According to Chuck, he'd been kidnapped, and the kidnappers had tortured him before administering the mystery drug. And he refused to elaborate who the who was. Ruth was like, "We need to go to the hospital and report the assault to the police." Chuck was like, "No, that will put me and all four of our daughters at serious risk for further harm."
Wow.
So Ruth was like, "Okay," and she just nursed him back to health at home. Once his voice came back, it took a while to come back. It took like a couple weeks. He claimed his captors had escaped. He had claimed he had escaped his captors near Phoenix's Sky Harbor Airport, but he would go no further than that.
Phoenix.
Yeah. He did start making vague allusions to being some sort of secret agent for the U.S. government. Okay. He apparently wrote Ruth, "They took my treasury identification."
That's not good.
That was the first she had ever heard of it.
Well, can't talk, but he didn't write it down. He's not really giving her really any information.
Yeah.
About what's going on.
And he's also saying that he was a U.S. Treasury agent. But he never told her that before.
Pretty sure it was hallucinant. They didn't give him some hallucinant.
All I
Oh
know,
my lord!
hallucinogenic.
Thank you very much. She ever dropping her food and I can't say words.
Yeah, before we started filming, I literally dropped my fries like 3 times. I dropped my Coke once. I it was rough.
Her bun for her fish sandwich is
Is
like very cockeyed. So
yeah.
when she pulls it apart, there goes fish.
I immediately bit into my sandwich and I spilled tartar sauce all over my shirt, and I was like, okay.
It's Monday. It's Monday.
You know
Poor
what? My
Abigail.
Monday was going really good. I packed like 3 totes worth of stuff. I cleaned out the fridge, the pantry.
Mind you, she called me and tells me, was it 5 trash bags?
Yeah.
That's how much shit we had expired. That's horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do better next time.
So he told her that he had been working for the U.S. Treasury Agency for about 2 years to 3 years.
But he's never, like you said, he's never told her that.
And he said he was a secret agent for them. I've never heard of a secret Treasury agent.
I haven't either.
Maybe that's why they're secret.
Good point. Captain Obvious.
Maybe like the Treasury has like a CIA department we don't know about.
Who knows? I mean, the government has a lot of things going on that nobody knows about.
Yeah, exactly. So the only other info was that a $2 bill he always kept with him was taken temporarily in the kidnapping. It was like his lucky $2 bill, and it was taken in his kidnapping.
But then they pin it to his underwear.
So Chuck didn't tell his wife, but his late friend Jeff.
Doesn't make any damn sense.
Also, do you recognize this last name, Jeff Tuberville?
It's funny.
I feel like I know Tuberville. I know that name.
No, the other guy, the name sounds familiar. Devereaux.
Mm-hmm.
That, for some reason, that just sounds.
It's because
like
he was on a show called Unsolved Mysteries.
Oh, I know. I used to watch that.
Yeah, that was the.
Tells you how old I am.
Mm-hmm. So they did a segment on this case.
Again, I was still young when we were watching Unsolved Mysteries,
So he told his friend, late Jeff Tuberville, that his kidnappers had stolen several platinum bars from the trunk of his car worth $50,000.
Okay, Charles. Charles.
Why are you cleaning?
Thank you. Why do you have bars in your trunk? There should be junk in your trunk, sir, not bars.
Bars of platinum?
Why do you have that in your trunk? Why?
You know what? People
Please, pray tell.
And this was one of the many strange and weird statements he had made after he was kidnapped. Chuck, who was usually a clean-shaven guy and kept his hair short, started to grow out his hair and grow a beard.
Oh, shit.
He also started to tell his wife and friends that he had information that was potentially damaging to Major Tussonins, and that the area politicians involving escrow and land deals and laundering money.
I'm throwing trash. Sorry. I'm cleaning up where there was soda. Because if we don't, it's going to get sticky. So don't mind me. I'm just going to like block her for a minute.
So he was basically Major Tussonins in the area and politicians involving escrow and land deals were laundering money.
Oh wow!
And he had evidence of it.
So maybe.
Why are you saying you have evidence of this? If you got this shit, just release it. He'll be like, I got this.
So again, not knowing if excuse me, a suicide or a murder. Charles, my man, you make no sense. You're not making any sense at all.
Exactly.
I understand the $2 bill. Maybe it's got a sentimental value of something. I don't know. Everybody's got something that's a sentimental value. But platinum bars in your trunk, that makes no sense, dude.
He told Jeff Tuberville that an unnamed employer somehow messed up with the mafia and threatened his family, but there was no direct evidence that he and his family had ever been threatened, and he became paranoid. So paranoid, he started to carry a gun around with him, and he had at least one gun in the car, and he also started wearing a bulletproof vest wherever he went.
did you wear it to the bathroom?
This was in the 70s.
Just asking. I'm curious. That I'm kind of thinking they gave him
They did something to.
they did
I don't.
something to him to where being that paranoid. Now I'm over the $2 bill. The platinum bars are not making sense to me.
He said that he had them in his trunk and that the kidnapper stole them. Well, then
But
he.
they're numbered. Don't those things have numbers?
Yeah.
Aren't they like a serial number?
Yeah, they
correct?
have identification on
So
them.
if he has them,
He also refused to let his daughters out of the house without someone present, and he never allowed strangers in his house.
that's understandable. See, that makes sense. Whatever happened to you, you
Yeah.
just don't want to happen to your kids. Makes very good sense.
So his statements about the mafia are kind of true. In the 1960s, New York crime boss Bonanno moved to Phoenix
Did you
area.
say banana?
Bonanno.
Banana.
And
Better not laugh because I don't want to put it in me.
and he remained somewhat involved in organized crime while here in Arizona. In 1960, Tucson police found the body of Louis Ciorda in the trunk of his car, strangled to death with the rope still around his neck.
Okay, so in other words, don't mess with the mafia.
This was not the only murder that the mafia had a mafia-style killing. So it was believed that while there wasn't a large presence of organized crime in Tucson and Phoenix, there was still some presence.
Mm-hmm.
In 1999, Joe Bonanno wrote an autobiography, and he claimed he ran a crew of 25 to 30 men in Arizona that was into gambling and Sherlocking, but he never admitted to any violent crimes.
What the heck is Sherlocking? Little lesson. We're finding out what Sherlocking is, because I don't know.
Oh, betting on gambling debt.
Oh, okay. Betting on gambling debts?
It's a loan shark thing.
Oh, okay. So that makes sense. Okay. Right when you said loan shark, I know what loan shark is.
Yeah, basically,
Somebody that you owe money to.
basically what it is. Well, no, I may have typed Sherlock. It said it was Shylocking or something like that.
Oh, okay. Oh, anybody want some cottage cheese? We have some milk.
Yeah.
That's yeah. All right. So he had some loan shark stuff going on.
The mob had loan shark stuff going on, and because they were in the gambling area, it kind of made sense where they would loan money and then they would bet against. That's what it was. Is that they would bet against the person paying.
Okay.
Paying the loan.
Okay.
But he never admitted to any violent crimes. But the Bonanzos were not the only crime family. There were also a number of gangs and small-scale drug running across the border that used Arizona real estate to launder their money. Throughout the 1970s, Arizona had laws that allowed land to be purchased through a blind trust, meaning the owner couldn't be traced, making it a perfect haven for money laundering. This would require an escrow agent to purchase whatever they were purchasing, making that agent either a willing participant or an unwilling participant, because the agent would be committing fraud and money laundering. There were rumors that Chuck did work with the Bonanzo family and Ned Warren and other criminals, but police never mentioned it in their report, so technically it's all just a rumor. So these are rumors that he worked with these people. So he was forced to testify in the Banco case, and he had already been paranoid, but it got so much worse afterwards. He continued to wear the bulletproof vest, and he carried guns on him and in his car. He had a CB radio and a police scanner that allowed him to monitor the criminal activity, but also the police car. He had his car. He bought an old police car, an Ultra did, so that it unlocked the doors from a release under the front fender of the car.
Okay.
On the afternoon of June 7th, 1977, Chuck went to a work meeting around lunchtime and called the office a little before 1 p.m. to let the office know he was on his way back, and he would be there in half an hour.
Okay.
But he never went back. After the last kidnapping, Ruth wasn't going to take any chances and she called the police. But sadly, they couldn't do anything because to them it was just a man abandoning his responsibilities without telling anyone, so nothing was done. And then 9 days after he went missing, Ruth received a mysterious call from an anonymous caller. And the woman on the other said, Ruthie? And she said, yes, this is she. And the woman said,
Ruthie? Okay, go ahead. No,
yeah.
I'm just sorry. I say things out loud because I'm trying to pick up tidbits.
And the woman said, Chuck is right. He classed these 12 1 through 8. And the woman hung up. So, as far as Ruth knew, this passage wasn't anything too important to Chuck or relevant or anything. But something struck out when she was reading it. The Bible verse, because it's a Bible verse. Read
Right.
this.
It classed it, yeah.
Remember your Creator in the days of your youth before the evil days come, and the years approach, of which you will say, I have no pleasure in them. Before the sun is darkened, and the light and the moon and the stars and the clouds return after the rain, when the guardians of the house tremble, and the strong men are bent, when the women who grind are idle, because they are few, and those who look through the windows grow blind, when the doors to the street are shut, and the sound of the mill is low, when one rises at the call of birds, and all the daughters of song are quiet, when one is afraid of heights and perils in the street, when the almond tree blooms and the locust grows sluggish, and the caperberry is without effect, because mortals go to their lasting home and mourners go about the streets. Before the silver cord is snapped and the golden bowl is broken, and the pitcher is shattered at the spring, and the pulley is broken at the well, and the dust returns to the earth as it once was, and the life breathed returns to it, to God who gave it. Vanity of vanities, says, I think I misspelled that. All things are vanity. Koholeth, all things are vanity. So Ruth shaken because she reads that
Yeah.
and she goes, "What the fuck does that mean?"
Yeah.
She spends time trying to find understand the passage, and hoping it would connect to her husband's disappearance. And she tried to call the police again, and nothing was done about it. Again, they thought it was just a man abandoning his responsibilities. Now, 2 days after that call, around 8 a.m., Chuck's body was found by two teens along Arizona Route 86, 15 miles south of Sells, Arizona. When police got there, Chuck was 10 feet from his car, which had been pulled off the road. His body was face down on the desert floor with a large hole in the back of his head that appeared to have been made by his own gun, the .357 Magnum, which was laying by his left hand.
Okay.
His eyeglasses that he always wore were attached to his left wrist, and he was wearing a black belt that concealed a large knife. And there was no evidence he tried to draw the knife. There seemed to be no struggle at the scene of the crime, and there were no footprints to be found. And when officers searched his car, they found the CB radio and the police scanner, along with a lot of ammunition and several weapons. But one of the techs found something more. They found a piece of one of his teeth in the back seat of the car wrapped in a white handkerchief.
Okay.
No one knows how it got there. The strange discoveries continued when they began processing the body. They determined he had been dead for only 12 hours, so he had been alive most of the time he had been missing. Now, the bullet had entered the top of his head and launched into the soft palate behind Chuck's front teeth.
Okay.
And there were no fingerprints on the Magnum, but there was gunpowder residue on Chuck's
Somebody's
left
calling you.
hand, indicating he had fired the gun recently.
Somebody's calling you.
No, Carla's calling me.
Oh.
You might want to end the thing.
Oh.
Hello?
I can pause it.
Yeah, I can.